And now, live from Pod Cabin in Burbank, California, it's the Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Allison welcomes a guest. He's a writer of the Apple TV show Central Park and co-host of the podcast 9 Chickweed Rage. It's Jeff Drake. And she's a writer and producer of Bob's Burgers and co-creator of The Great North. It's Wendy Molyneux. Tone Zone is here to put down the rumors that he is the cute little guy that Elon Musk has been carrying around on his shoulders. I'm her husband, Daniel, saying hop on board the love bus and say hello to your new best friend, Allison Rosen.
Allison Rosen. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little shamrock shakes. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. That particular carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon by Becky Milner. And yes, I am on Patreon. All sorts of great stuff over there. There is a level where you can text me and I'll text you back. And also I send a daily text and it is very juicy. It's where all the action is happening. And also other stuff. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. Do an annual subscription, get 2 months free.
That's a good deal.
Also, I would like to let you guys know, I am on Substack. AllisonRosen.substack.com. As we go through this show, you may notice where I used to segue this way and that way. Now there's a dearth of segues. The ads are thin. I'm hopeful it'll change. But for now, I'm PBS. I'm directly supported by you. And I don't give you a tote bag, but you get all this free content, so please pay for it. Patreon or Substack or all the other ways to support me, like leave a review. Okay, great. I would like to say hello and welcome to my guests. What a great day it is because I've got two absolute legends.
What the?
Wendy, hello. Wendy Molyneux. Hi. Hello. Wendy's wearing new glasses and they are so fashionable.
So I'll leave a picture of just the glasses.
Please do.
For your Patreon members. Only they get to know about the glasses.
That'd be a great idea because as I was saying it, I was like, oh no, I shouldn't say that because we're using a photo not from today because I didn't put on makeup and I'm too vain to take a photo.
I'll send you a photo just of me.
Yes.
That's what people are just clamoring for that.
It's like go through to get to. They're going through Allison Rosen's New Best Friend to get to Wendy Molyneux's glasses.
Yep. Yeah.
Jeff Drake, Wendy's husband. Hello. Do you feel not demoted, but do you feel any kind of way about the fact that I always introduce you as Wendy's husband? Because you are your own person.
I am my own person, but I mean, Wendy started doing this podcast first, so It seems she's the gateway drug.
Yes.
Into this podcast.
I'm a gateway drug.
She's
I'm
the
like
marijuana.
Human cocaine. Let's stop the podcast and go get some cocaine. Yeah. I'm cocaine's number one fan.
Clearly you are.
Yeah.
In the Allison Rosen's Your New Best Friend community, there's another Jeff is the thing. So before Tony, Wendy knows, there was Jeff Fox. He was my longtime producer.
Oh, sure.
He still fills in for Tony when Tony's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a famous rock star. I have to go to Australia. He fills in. So I feel like if I just say Jeff, people they might be like, when did he change his voice? And it'll be just all confusing.
Sure.
It's like Wendy the dog, but with a human.
Yes, it is exactly like that.
Yeah.
Well, and there was a time when I moved out here, people just called me Drake. And this was before the rise of the rapper with the same name.
Right.
And so
now that name is really tough.
It's a bummer for me.
And all of our children. They all have to walk around with Drake as last name, too.
I know. Are they getting clowned all the time by Kendrick fans?
Like we named them Shitbird as a last name. Yeah. It's like terrible.
It's really bad.
I have a question about Drake, but let me first introduce everyone else and then remind me that I...
Yeah, let's wade into the Kendrick and Drake beef.
Let's do it.
What a great idea.
Are we going to get shot? I don't know. What goes on?
No.
Allison is so up on it.
I am... Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hello, Tony Thaxton.
Hello. You may have stumbled into a new slogan for the show recently.
Having to see a butthole every now and again wouldn't be that bad. Yes, That is how I feel, I guess. That came from the episode with Lucas Passmore, who wrote Love Hurts and is also a fashion photographer and a longtime fan of the show. And he lost his house in the Eaton fire. So we had a lot to talk about. But he came armed with an Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend quiz where he went through like a lot of people that everyone knows and was like, if you were on a deserted island, who would be the best person for you to be with? And there's like pros and cons for everyone. And it was great. Okay. The Drake stuff. Now, when everyone says Drake, I know there's a rapper named Drake, but there's also a Disney or Nickelodeon star named Drake.
Drake and Josh.
Who, do both have controversy?
I don't know.
Because I know that the Disney Nickelodeon star, there's controversy about him, around him, surrounding him. Is there controversy surrounding the other Drake?
Around Drake the rapper?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what is it? What's the nature of it?
It's the nature of, the beef itself is so, you have to really go deep on the beef to read all the different things.
Deep beef.
But the main thing, kind of jump out charge is that Drake would text a lot with underage up and coming stars like Millie Bobby Brown, Billie Eilish when they were teenagers and acquired a certain reputation. That's as far as I'm willing to go.
Okay.
About saying what is. Everything else you should just read online. But that's the sort of most public, most known. But Kendrick just does not like Drake. Drake tried to sort of include himself and Kendrick and this other rapper, J. Cole, in the sort of like that they were the big three rappers. And Kendrick was like, fuck you, it's just me, which was justified. I mean, he has a fucking Pulitzer Prize. And also, I think he just literally does not like
Grammys.
Drake. So it's like, picture the person you like least in the world being like, oh, we're basically in a little group together.
Yeah.
You'd be like, we're absolutely not in a little fucking group together. And that, it just kept spiraling and spiraling. But Kendrick is by far the better rapper and performer. So
he has the Pulitzer.
His like diss tracks were just like, Jesus. Like, I mean, just really good.
Crazy.
They're good.
Well, they
and
went
they're
after
crazy. And like, it's
was it Drake or Cole? One of them implied that Kendrick beat his wife or something.
Yes.
And then Kendrick just like said, okay, I'm going to salt the earth.
Yeah.
Like he released a diss track that like won a Grammy. And then like the next week, he performed it at the Super Bowl.
And
Like,
then it
was
said
just
game over afterwards. And then Drake was like, I'm actually not in this beef anymore. You're like, yeah, that would have been, it's like the Van Halen t-shirt with that, what is it in Wedding Singer where Adam Sandler's like take off wait, hold on. I got lost in my own logic. It was like, yes, he should have quit it's when he tells the girl who breaks up with him, he basically, can we please, I'm going to start again. Can you edit that out? I sound like I've lost my mind. Him saying after Kendrick disses him at the Super Bowl and says game over, and then him being like, I'm not in this beef. It's like, remember in The Wedding Singer, I'm going to try this again. When Adam Sandler tells his ex-wife, or not ex-wife, he was engaged, and then she's like, I don't want to marry you. And he's like, that information would have been very helpful yesterday.
yes.
Drake's information would have been helpful to himself months earlier.
Right.
Is what I was trying to say. And it still makes no sense what I just said.
No,
and then
it does.
got tangled in my mind with the other joke from that scene where she's wearing a Van Halen t-shirt and he says, take that off before you curse the band, and they break up. So that's what it got tangled in my mind with the two different
I
jokes.
love it though.
I
It just
understand.
gives everyone something to noodle
So wait,
on.
Kendrick.
Sorry, you can cut all of that. You should cut all of that out.
That's the best
it's like my
podcast
brain
has ever been.
split in half while I was trying to explain what I meant.
That happens to me so often.
I think it's just aging,
Yes.
probably, where I'm just like, wait, what was I trying to
Yeah.
say?
No, but I'm
yes,
like chasing two things and like preparing this one over here while
Yes.
I wait for
Yes.
this. It's like we're DJs.
Yeah, it's like we're DJs in our
Of
own
thoughts,
brains.
yeah.
But yes, like Drake should have left the beef before it started.
Right.
Like, do not go up. Everyone learned. Do not go up against Kendrick Lamar. at all.
Kendrick, who wore the bootcut jeans at the
His
Super Bowl.
flares. Yeah.
That
flares.
was. Sorry, Wendy.
Yeah.
She's a denim expert.
I'm
I
a
don't know
denim
if you know
expert.
this. Yeah, she used to work at the
They
Gap.
were bootcut flares, I think.
Yeah. But no, they are different. I am someone who only likes bootcut or flare, and I can say flare has more.
They worked
flair.
on him.
Flair.
But
I don't
anyway,
normally like
he
the
looked
boot
great.
cut. He
Was
looked great.
this when
Yeah.
he did this diss track that you guys are talking about, though?
He did perform Not Like Us as the
Okay.
closing song.
He
Got
teased
it.
it.
Super Bowl.
So there was a whole thing about how there was going to be a lawsuit before the Super Bowl. Like if you play it, Drake's going to sue for defamation, and so there were people wondering if he was going to play it. And throughout the show, he kind of like teases like, "Am I going to do it?" And then he's like, "Nah, I'm not going to." And then maybe I'm going to do it. And then finally at the end, he did
just
it, and everyone
did
was
it.
like
Yeah.
freaking out.
Wow.
Well, and the
I've
thing
been
is,
so oblivious.
yeah, Drake going after like his marriage and stuff. Like Kendrick has been very open that like they met in high school. Their marriage isn't perfect. They have problems or have had them or whatever. Like I think he almost seems like a therapy guy, kind of, you know. And then the Drake is like trying to go after him. He's like, no, I have 2 kids with this woman. I've been open with the fact that like things aren't perfect over here all the
Right.
time. So stop saying I hit my wife.
This is definitely where people go. This podcast to know about rap beefs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
So-
we're right in the wheelhouse.
It's interesting though. So the Drake stuff is like, what would that be? Sexual harassment? What is that called when you're?
Well, I mean, the biggest line from Not Like Us is that Kendrick goes, "You're trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor." So it's like a
that's
very
good.
strong
Solid.
implication.
He straight up
that-
calls him a pedophile. Too.
Yeah.
Well, he calls some of his associates pedophiles.
Oh, is that who?
I think so.
Daniel.
There's a couple guys that hang around.
Oh, I didn't know
but
they
I do
caught
think
shrapnel.
he does. No. I think that's how he's like squirming around whether he's literally calling him a pedophile. Is like
Yeah.
he mentioned some other people who may have like
Oh.
actual charges or whatever. So it's like I think
think
that's where you get into the like, is this defamation or not? Is like he's all around it. You know?
I think the other Drake, the Nickelodeon star, has similar
It's not-
charges.
we need to
against
reclaim
him.
the name
Did anyone,
right here.
What?
Drake.
I
A
can't.
pedophile? The name
No,
of pedophile?
Drake needs to. We need to cleanse it. of
I
all
can't.
that.
I
Yeah.
can't
How
defend
can
it.
how can you cleanse it now?
Yeah.
It's like that's an international mega superstar. It's too late.
Yeah.
What I love about it is
What
like
you love about it?
what
Go
cracks
on.
me up. What cracks me up the most is that Drake is like, as far as rap goes, he's like a really good college basketball player who decided that he was like, I can take LeBron James on in one-on-one and beat him. And like Kendrick just like schooled him so hard.
Yeah, he did.
Like,
He just kept slapping him and he kept bringing more people into it. It was just like, sit down, buddy. Sit down.
There's also
now.
this
Drake,
element
to Drake.
sorry,
Sit down.
There's
Drake.
also this element to it too, where it's like Kendrick's from, he's from the hood. He's from L.A. Like I'm not exactly sure what neighborhood, but I mean he's
Brentwood.
Well, he's like he's from
The
a
Wood.
more like Compton or something.
I
like
believe that's
yeah.
right.
Whereas
Yeah.
Drake's from Canada. He grew up
Oh, he's
kind of
Canadian?
well
I didn't know that.
off.
Well, and he was
a-
on Degrassi.
He was on Degrassi.
Oh.
So there's sort of like
Well,
an
no wonder this is
authenticity element to
confusing
it
to
as
me.
well.
Because
Yeah.
there's both Drakes are Nickelodeon. Was Degrassi on Nickelodeon?
No, Degrassi was
think so.
was PBS,
Oh, right.
wasn't it? Because the original Degrassi, I remember watching
Yeah.
on PBS, and it was so like I think
What was the
my
girl's name?
parents
Snake?
didn't. Yeah, I don't think my mom knew that they were covering even more adult topics than you might catch on a network show.
Right.
So it was like it felt very transgressive at the time to be watching Degrassi because like the
Spike.
kids, Spike, and then like. Yeah, the teens were having sex. I think
Yeah.
a teen got pregnant. And so, like, when you were a kid and watching that, you felt like, oh, I'm really learning about life. But your parents were like, oh, they're watching PBS.
Right.
And it was like, it was a great con.
So both Drakes are former kid stars.
I believe that's
This
right.
is very confusing for me.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say.
Was it about
No,
Kendrick?
were you
and
gonna
Drake?
trying to-
you were going to defend
I'm trying to
Drake.
answer an email
So-
while we're doing this. Yeah.
Oh, is it work?
Yeah, it's
Okay. Tony, you've been really quiet. Do you love Drake?
No, I literally don't pay attention to this world. Like it just isn't my
This
isn't
is
my
what
thing.
occupies my mind. So we're
That's
very
fair.
different. You
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jeff have ornaments. I have Kendrick Lamar. I am a huge fan. And
I know.
So,
You just went to a big rap show, right?
well, no,
I feel like I sound so fucking white.
that was a different show. We went to Tyler the Creator.
Rappy show? Rap?
We went to Tyler the Creator
rap
last
recital.
week, which was great. It was a great show.
Wendy called it on Instagram.
Yeah, I went to the rap recital. But yeah, no, we went to Tyler the Creator. I do want to go to Kendrick Kendrick, but I missed the pre-sale and the sale. So now I just go on the resale sites every day, just hoping to strike gold, like find something that I can justify the price in my mind somehow.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm sure we'll probably, I'll talk myself into it like tomorrow, probably. But yeah, I do enjoy it.
I mean, it was,
Kendrick.
I don't know a lot of Kendrick stuff. I know a few things, but like that halftime show was great. I
really liked
amazing.
it. And then, of course,
I
the
missed it.
predictable, Republican reaction of,
But I usually hate, I'm notorious for hating Super Bowl
because I
shows.
feel
Everyone
like what
knows
they
this.
always want is like Katy Perry. They want a big show with lots of costumes and dancers and somebody flying around on a wire. And a Kendrick show is not going to be that. Like, there were dancers. It was bigger than some shows, but it wasn't like
But
Lady
there's also
Gaga.
something about it that never works in that context.
Yep.
Like a concert in the middle of a football game,
Yeah.
and it just like always feels sort of. Whereas there's something about the way they created that show. It just sort of fit. It felt like it worked in that environment. Which
Do you
is
remember that Megan Amram, is that how you say her name, tweet that was like, there should be a tiny football game that breaks out at the intermission of a Broadway show or of a musical. Speaking of musicals, Elliot took a class at the Gary Marshall Theater, which is a local theater around
How
here.
was it?
Really, this is the second class he's taken there, but it's the first one that had a culmination performance. So
Ooh.
yesterday he did a show at 2 and at 4, and he's in a group that was like 8 to 11, and then there's a group of 12 to 17, and so they both like took turns doing scenes. He did a song. He and his group did a song from Hello Dolly, from Little Shop of Horrors, and from Annie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it was so cute and so sweet. And there's just, I'm not around not massive, but big groups of kids of all ages. There's just something so cute. If I were this age, if they were this age, if I were this age and I heard an adult talking about it the way I am, I would die. But there's just something so cute about watching how like awkward the kids are. And I don't know, it was but also like a lot of talent too. But Elliot, every time you could tell he was looking for us in the audience, and then every time he saw us, he would, I don't know how to describe what I'm doing, so this is a visual. He would go like, he would have this like sort of like embarrassed look on
my
his face.
parents are here,
Yeah.
and I am a big star, but I'm not going to acknowledge them.
Yeah.
Well, he was so distracted looking for us that I had to like kind of say, Elliot, just so that he could focus on his
Yeah, because we could
performance.
tell he was like trying to find us because we were in a different
Until he saw
spot for the
us.
second
Right.
show.
Yeah.
It was really cute though.
Yeah, we have 2 of our kids are getting ready to do the talent show.
Oh,
at
nice.
elementary school.
Yeah.
What's it going to be?
Well, our youngest likes to sing, and so he's singing
Oh, wow.
I'm Still Standing by Elton John.
Of course.
But then when our 8-year-old was queuing up what he wanted to do, so we were talking about what do you guys want to do? And then Matthew goes, Mom, would it be okay for the show if I wore makeup? And I'm thinking like, what does he want to do? Cher? He wants to do I Believe in Life After Love. Like I was like, if he wants to perform as a woman, that's totally fine with us. So of course, and I say, of course, honey, like if you want to wear makeup, that's okay with us. And he goes, okay. And his plan was that he wanted to do the Pennywise dance. So he wanted to dress as a terrifying clown and scare the children. So he is doing it.
Caveat.
That's great. I love that.
Said, because I said yes first,
You were stuck.
and then I thought he wouldn't follow through,
Total trick.
but he is following through.
Caveat, none of our children have seen it. They have
just
not.
seen the clip
Although
or something.
now apparently there were a lot of confessions this weekend.
oh,
Where our 9-year-old, not the one doing the Pennywise dance, told me first was telling on his brother that he has found workarounds to watch Terrifier.
what is that?
It's
a
another
horror.
scary clown
It's a-
movie. But is
It's
it
actually
goofy?
pretty brutal.
It's
Okay.
brutal? Ugh,
Did you say
I
is it
haven't
goofy?
seen it. Well, because some are goofy. Like there's this
Right.
movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Right.
It's
Yeah, that's
essentially
goofy.
insanely goofy.
That's silly.
Terrifier is not
Terrifier
goofy.
is really violent, like really gory. And it's, I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing, but it's
Yeah.
pretty scary. And
I
the
mean-
clown in that is
Terrifying.
terrifying.
Terrifying. I mean, our
It's in the
kids,
name. Yeah.
if they have seen these movies, it's not like they're going around then chopping each other up with axes or anything. I just don't understand liking horror. And so they are trying to find insane workarounds. Like they've watched these like nerfed versions of Squid Game online
Our
with no
kids have watched
killing
that.
and no blood.
Yes.
And
Squid Game is so
they're
popular among kids. It's weird.
I know. But then when I think back, it's like, of course, Freddy Krueger and
Right.
Jason from Friday the 13th had a firm hold on all of our
Yes.
imaginations. It's not like it was because we wanted to murder people.
And also Halloween, big deal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's people know it's not real, but to
Right.
me, horror always felt real. So I don't understand how they're watching it and sleeping at night.
Me neither.
If they are sneaking and watching it, which we're
Yeah.
trying to somehow put a lid on.
Right.
But they're just so much smarter than us at TV and technology.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Is that the reason that we don't? For me, I don't want my kids to watch stuff that's beyond them because I'm afraid it'll scare them. It's not that I think it'll put ideas into their head, but I wonder for most people what it is.
I've always wondered like about both. Like, do you not let your kids watch violent stuff because they're kids and they're stupid? What if they thought, oh,
That seems like a good
what if I
idea.
grabbed that thing and did that?
Here's the thing,
but that it was fake in the movie. So if I do like. Yes, I don't want them to be scared, but since they're apparently not scared, then my mind shifts over to the other one. I'm like, I don't want them to think you can use a chainsaw and
Right.
it won't have ramifications.
Right.
Or something.
But our oldest, there's an app that's like a preschool app that's literally just for preschool kids to learn ABCs.
Uh-huh.
And Elliot had a nightmare based on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
He did? What,
yeah,
what app
the
was it?
Starfall. Or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, I remember Starfall.
Yeah.
And it's like they're going to have nightmares because they feel anxiety, not because they saw a scary clown. I mean, the scary clown might be the expression of that anxiety in their dream.
I love you, but I disagree. Actually, yes, they're gonna have
It might
nightmares.
keep
and it's-
them-
Hang on.
No.
it's gonna.
Neither one of you talk. I'm in charge
They
now.
might have a hard time falling
Wendy's
asleep.
in charge
Wendy
now.
is-
No
They
one
might be-
talk.
And
Wendy
they might
has
be afraid
stepped
of
in.
the
The
dark.
court has appointed Wendy host of the show.
You guys couldn't get along and you fucking blew it. Now it's my show. Tony, play my cocaine clip again.
The
I want to
podcast
do
is-
snack chat. The podcast and go get some cocaine.
The podcast is now called. It's now called Wendy Molyneux is your new Alison Rosen.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
would
knew
listen
this
to
could
that.
happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen.
I'm not organized enough to run a podcast. I give it back. I gave it back.
Okay. So anyway, I agree that they're going to have nightmares and they're going to grab onto like images from their real life. However,
Good, great. All right,
And
next.
this is based on, and it sounds like Wendy had a similar situation. And I've talked about it on the show before, so I don't need to go into depth, but it based on my own experience of horror as a child, it was like exponentially more disturbing than everything. Like the movie The Exorcist and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and I didn't even see Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and it's actually a dark comedy, but still they like ruined months of my life because I was so
yes,
horrified.
But that's different than nightmares. I think like for me, I was the same way,
And Sybil.
but it just kept me from being able to fall asleep as easily, or I was just like more afraid of the dark. But I didn't. It didn't do anything to my.
I remember that. Okay, well, good for you. But I remember that feeling of like,
Do I need to step in again?
oh no. I remember that feeling, unannounced visit from our moderator. I remember that feeling of going to bed at night freaked out and then waking up the next day and being like, oh no, I still have that feeling. And then it's staying with me for 5 months.
I am less afraid of them being afraid of things than them being desensitized by things.
I think they're both
that
good
freaks me
fears.
out more
Yeah.
about that shit.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
I mean, like Jose, who's 9, like he loves horror more. He's the entry point for it all. Like Matthew, who's just a year younger.
He's the gateway drug.
Yeah,
The Wendy.
he is. He
Yeah.
is. But he loves the horror stuff, and yet there was an image he saw on Roblox that was just Elsa from Frozen with black eyes that terrified him so
like
much
no pupils, just
is
that
scary.
thing. Yeah, yeah.
that and I think maybe we brought it up on the podcast before, but he
I don't think
He
so.
tried to throw away his entire iPad.
Yeah, we were at dinner and he got up from the table and then I heard the trash can slide out and I looked over and he was trying to put his iPad in the trash
Oh,
because then he thought that would get rid of the image forever. But yeah, I mean, but now he's like super wants to watch all of this stuff and I use it as bribes, basically. Like if you are good about this for 14 days, we can watch the thing or whatever. Like, because
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to, that doesn't scare him. They'll be like, okay, I just watched like something that would normally scare children and now where's my blankie? I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't seem, their
Right.
nightmares are unrelated to watching anything scary if
Yeah.
they have nightmares.
that's interesting. Daniel's theory is that, what is your theory?
If they're afraid, I don't mind them being.
No, not that one, because I hate that theory. I
It's a
totally
great
disagree with
theory.
it. No, your theory, Daniel's theory,
Damn it.
is that part of the
back. Both of you
Is it-
shut up.
It's all right. I've said it a million times on this podcast.
No, yeah, that theory. No, the one about like the reason that I couldn't handle horror is because my childhood emotionally was a horror movie.
Well, that's what it was for me. And so I like for me, when I think about like my fear of horror, my inability to tolerate horror movies, part of it was that my home was so scary and unstable that there was no security. It's not like I could turn off the movie and feel okay. It's like, no, there's a threat in the
What
house.
was scary about your childhood? I don't think I know.
My stepdad was
Oh,
yeah,
monstrous.
And so it was like, yeah, and so it was like there was a monster in the
no.
house. There literally was, but I wasn't like.
Right.
So there was just this feeling of being unsafe, and I guess it's more like something I'm curious about than something I'm certain of.
Right.
Which is like, I wonder if people who were in really good, secure homes have a higher tolerance for horror movies because there wasn't that feeling. They just felt secure when the movie was off.
So it could just be like fun to go to this.
But
like,
for me,
so
it's like-
you're
world.
saying we're amazing parents.
kind
Maybe.
of, kind of.
Well, yeah, maybe because like
That's what I was thinking.
Well, I actually think that about us because Elliot, he'll be like looking through his fingers, but then he wants same thing with the Squid Game, same thing with all this horror stuff. He loves going to the Halloween store and looking at all the gory
Yeah, they
stuff.
love the Halloween
You know,
store, and I try to
severed
keep them out
limbs.
because it's so expensive.
I
It's
know.
ridiculous.
I know.
Are you guys talking
Oh.
about Halloween?
Oh
Town?
wait, my favorite thing. I think you're going to say the same thing. Have you guys seen the instructions in there?
Oh yeah,
No.
the sign.
There's a sign. Tell them what the sign is. It's
Well,
so insane.
It's you can't use your phone at all.
No,
Oh,
they
yeah.
will stop you.
And you can't check prices,
Oh right, I think I did.
and you
see
can't
that.
take pictures of things, and I forget what else.
the main thing for me is you're not allowed to check the prices
Yeah,
of
what
this
is that?
online. It's like, absolutely not. Are you crazy? If I want to see if Chattering Teeth are actually $3 on Amazon, I can do that. This is a free country. Like,
Right.
it's so. The fact that they
Yeah.
try to tell you can't price compare
That's
is
so
like,
weird.
it's also giving away the whole game.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, don't go in my phone and don't look at my text and don't
Right.
search for the word like huge boobies in my text.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not texting with anyone about that. Like, it's like, it's so obvious. But
Right.
Jeff, don't do that. Don't go in my phone and look for the text
Look for the text.
and search the phrase huge boobies.
She's
'cause
not
I'm
texting anyone.
I
about
haven't
that.
been texting anyone about huge boobies.
Got it.
Tony.
Got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
were you about to say something, Wendy?
Huge boobies.
I don't know. Tony, so this past weekend, Jackie Johnson and her husband Ben had. See, I guess I describe everyone as someone's husband. Aren't we all someone's husband? Had a party, which I missed because I was down in Orange County sifting through stuff with Daniel, who was a humongous help, and we have to get to that and talk a little bit about what we found. But you went to the party. How was
did.
it? Because I was sad that I missed it.
It was a good time. It was. I didn't know what to expect.
It was a bowling party.
What was the occasion?
It
Their
was
birthdays.
both of their birthdays, but I think, and I don't want to speak for them, but was discussing with other friends, because of like this was like a big party, and they like rented out the bowling alley,
Right.
and
Wow.
I think the theory was like they're doing this for their birthday. They didn't get to have a real wedding.
That's right. Oh man, I missed
So,
their wedding.
I think this was like
Their quote-unquote-
maybe kind of like their
Yeah.
reception finally.
Right.
At least that was the guess we made as some
makes
friends we
sense.
were talking to. But yeah, it was a good time. They yeah, there's lots. It was an open bar and food for free
Say
and
no more.
free bowling. But
What kind
the
of
list
food?
for
What
Allison
kind of
didn't even
food?
bother to tell me about this.
it's just
Honestly, I tried to see if we could get a babysitter. I was trying to find a babysitter for Saturday, either so that they could watch the kids and dogs while we went down to Orange County, or depending on the babysitter's availability, if they were like, "Oh, I'm only available in
Right.
the evening," then I would have said, "Let's go to the party." But
This
I couldn't.
is a bad time for us because
I couldn't find one at all. So
state.
yeah,
yeah.
what kind of free food?
There was like pizzas and for like bar food kind of like
Yeah.
pizzas and fries
Okay.
and some little sliders and there's even some gelato at the end of the night.
Gelato.
But yeah, and there was bowling, but the list to the sign up I think for bowling was like super long, so we didn't even try.
Hang on one. Stay right there.
Mhm.
Wendy, how do you feel about gelato? Because I know that you like a fat in your carb, in your sweet.
It's
Because I'm
fine.
not
I
a
don't
big
care
fan of
about ice
gelato.
cream.
Oh, really?
I don't care about ice cream.
I guess we're not the same person.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
What?
So you don't have a preference for ice cream over gelato over sorbet?
How?
No. Oh, sorbet is disgusting.
Yeah, okay, well that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony,
Sorbet is foul.
what friends of the show were there?
Not too many that I can think of. I wasn't sure if I thought I was going to know more people than I did. I saw Lauren Lampkis and Rory
Uphold?
Yes. I think that's it other than Ben
Really?
and Jackie. I mean, there was a lot of people there.
Was
I very well
Ariana
could have
Maddox
missed-
there?
I don't know who that is.
From Vanderpump.
I have no idea.
What
You think I would
enemies?
know that?
What enemies of the show were there?
Yeah, oh, thank you. Perfect. Yeah, what enemies of the show?
Well, Adam Carolla was there, of course.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine?
He loves a bowling party with
Oh yeah,
free
and
food.
he couldn't keep stopping from the karaoke.
Is it,
Oh
is
yeah,
it
there was
Ben-
karaoke.
There was karaoke,
Oh,
yeah.
I love karaoke.
Isn't
Yeah.
Ben friends with like Jason Schwartzman or someone, or isn't he?
Was he
It's
there?
possible. I didn't. Yeah, I feel like Lauren Lapkus was like the.
The star?
Yeah,
The
I feel like she
celebrity?
was like the biggest star power that I saw. I'm not
Okay.
saying that was it, but that's all that I saw.
Got it. 'Cause
There were separate rooms because there was the karaoke room and
Uh-huh.
there was the bowling alley, and we kind of ended up in the karaoke room a little more.
I'm sorry.
No, we had a good time.
Did you karaoke?
Did you sing?
I might have
What's Tony's
that
go-to
question.
song?
Yeah, what's your song?
Sledgehammer.
Oh, that's good.
That's a
one.
nice one.
It was early in the night.
Do you have a karaoke song?
I don't have a go-to. I do
Okay.
love to karaoke though, especially when I've been drinking a little.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That I
that's
think
the key.
I'm growing
I
at
do
it,
not
even though I'm
like-
not.
I don't like karaoke, but I would love to see Wendy karaoke.
Well, it's not good.
No.
It's just very free. Very free.
Jackie had a great performance of System of a Down.
Oh,
Chop suey.
I could see that.
That's gonna-
Man,
Yeah.
I think
missed
if
the
I
best
did that,
party.
I think I would do Toxicity.
Yeah.
The Toxicity. Lost it. Love that song for some reason.
All right. I think debating here. You know what? I had said I was going to go into a little bit of what I found in the house, but I'm going to wait and do that on the next episode. Instead, I think, because I know we've got some Hey Go Fuck Yourselves on deck. Let's do Hey Go Fuck Yourself, Daniel.
Okay. So we live near a place that has been, when we were looking for homes, it was like, oh, this is a great place because
I know where this is going.
it's near Porto's, which is this, I don't know, this might be offensive to you as former locals in this area. I don't know, but it's like Porto's. Oh, Porto's. Everyone loves fucking Porto's. And
Should we
here-
find out how they feel about it before you
No.
besmirch it?
No, I want to just hear this first.
Okay.
So here's the thing
I
about
want to
fucking
unleash.
Porto's.
Okay.
Porto's is this like Cuban pastry shop, and they're fine. The pastries are fine. They're good. They're cheap. They have empanadas. They're fine. They have these potato balls. They're fine. It's like taco meat in potato, mashed potato, whatever. There is a fucking line outside this place that is always there, and the traffic and the fucking parking, and I'm trying to drop my kids off at school, and some jackhole is trying to always, every day, trying to parallel park and blocking all the traffic when there is a parking lot right behind. Anyway, There are half a dozen other places around here that are just as good or better, maybe a little more expensive. I don't get the fucking hype. It could go Porto's.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Now, if it boosts property values, that's great. I love that part of it, but God.
Has anyone ever mounted a defense of a go fuck yourself before? Can I break new ground?
Please tell me what is the big deal?
break
Porto?
ground.
I'm with. I think you've gotten the wrong things.
I'm
What
ready
is
to break
it?
new ground here
What?
by
What?
mounting a defense of Porto's with my
Okay.
co-counsel Tony.
I'm with you.
Here's my
I would
thing.
like to
I'm
take a
not
stand
like a
after.
Porto's super fan.
Yeah, same.
But I think Porto's moves that line really fast. If you've ever waited in that line, they are doing the best they can. So I would blame people going to Porto's who don't have the couth to know, drive around the fucking block and go in the lot or go pull into
But
the residential
problem
neighborhood.
The problem
I wouldn't
is
blame
for
Porto's
every 10
itself.
people, there's enough that aren't doing that. That's the problem. And so it's like, I was late dropping the kids off. I had to just by fucking 30 seconds, they're closing the gate, and then you got to do this whole thing of going to
I
school.
know.
Because
Yeah, I
some
understand that
fucking
side of the
jackass
Yes.
who
Yeah.
could not parallel park
Well, wait, I have.
when there's plenty of parking behind
But
Porto's.
that's not a Porto's problem. That's
No.
a Porto's patron problem.
It is a
Ooh, a
Porto's problem.
PPP.
Porto's is not good enough to justify my being late.
Well, okay, hold on. But have
And
you ever seen the prices they have on cakes are incredible.
Yes, that's
Tony,
true.
have you bought cakes there?
The Tres Leches cake is one of my favorite things on earth.
And if you got to go buy 2 cakes because there are 2 birthdays at work on the same day, you're getting it out of there for $55 with 2 good cakes that can feed a crowd. That's not even one cake at Susie Cakes.
Okay, so look.
So I wait
I
in
get it.
line for those
I have
cakes.
gotten the big Tres Leches
Oh,
cake for
yeah.
many a party, and anytime someone comes and they're like, "Oh, I've never had it," and then they have it and they're like, "Oh my god, this is
And your
like
price
the best
point
cake
on the
I've
big
had."
one is probably not even that high for a cake that's making people say, wow.
Then,
Yeah.
then Tony, you can have it. You can have Porto's. You can
Hey,
take a
there's one-
helicopter
there's one in
and
Glendale,
drive
so
it
I'm
out
good.
to fucking.
Oh,
You know what? Have you had the Tres Leches cake, Daniel?
And Daniel likes Tres Leches cake.
Oh, it's the best.
No Tres Leches cake would be worth.
Okay, I'm
me
bringing one next time.
My minor
Here it
inconvenience. And here, I know what you're thinking at home listening to this. You're thinking, but wait a minute, is you being late to school Porto's fault? Maybe you could have been shh.
That's what I
Shut
was
your-
thinking.
shut-
I was thinking that very same
Shut
thing.
your mouth. Shut.
Also, the guava
Shut your mouth.
pastry, the guava and
Those are
cheese
very good.
pastries
Those are
are
very
really
good.
good.
Very good.
And even those little baked goods
You
are
know what's really good there?
You know why the lines are
the
long?
chocolate chip muffins are really
But
good.
you're also
Oh,
you
see,
were
his
saying yes, they're a
whole
little
thing is
more
falling apart.
expensive when you're talking about somewhere else. A little more expensive can be bad because let's say you got to feed a party. That
Yeah.
price point difference, it's worth the line
But
to
the
me.
potato
It's true.
balls are just, they don't
Potato
have
balls are fucking
enough
gross.
flavor.
Yeah,
I will
I'll
put
disagree
a
with that
potato
also.
ball in your butt.
Yeah.
I will put it in. You will be
Taco-
tasting it anew.
Maybe that's how I would enjoy it. But
Yeah.
I've
Here's the
eaten
problem.
it the regular way, and I didn't.
May I- may I
I've
defend
enjoyed it
Porto's?
missionary.
Here's
and I
the
didn't
problem.
love it.
Here's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Okay.
Missionary isn't the way to go.
Here's the problem.
A forceful cram up the bee is what you're going for.
Our experience at Porto's has not been let's buy things for a thing.
Yes.
Our experience at Porto's is, oh my fucking god,
He
it's
brought
the best
Porto's.
place ever.
He brought Porto's.
Holy
Oh
shit,
my God,
they're
did you hear
bringing
they brought
Porto's, and then
Porto's?
here's a box of Porto's,
see, I
and it's
think of
like
them-
fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the most amazing place on earth, but I do think they're performing sort of as services. You can get a lot of party food. You're having a party. Also, they're a local LA homegrown business with a few outlets, and I support that. They're not Applebee's or
Whatever.
fucking
Whatever.
Outback Steakhouse. Pretend that's
Whatever,
really
get a
steakhouse.
fucking parking garage.
Listen, if you say, "Hey, go fuck yourself," you risk someone saying, "Hey, hold on."
No, there is not a hey, hold on. Is there a hey, hold on drop?
There is now.
There is
now.
Wendy took over.
All right.
Oh
there
no,
is.
the moderator came back. There's a hey, hold on now. The court said
All
the
right.
papers are already filed.
It's true. It's true.
I'm torn. I tend to agree with Daniel. I think it has to do with mine is not a parking related situation. It's the hype. Like the way people talk about Porto's, it's religious fervor, and I've just never found it live up to it. That being said, once I realized their prices are really good, I'm like,
really
oh, I
cheap.
get it. I get it now, I think.
It's really cheap, but it's not
still-
worth making me 1 minute late.
I mean, I hear that.
Leave 1 minute early.
Hey, your mouth,
Couldn't,
Okay.
couldn't you go like a slightly different route?
Tony. Yeah. How
I know how to say that around
I
here.
think Tony brings up a really good point.
I award custody of your children to Tony.
How dare you? How
More
dare you?
far-reaching than I realized. Daniel, we
Tony is the parent of your children now.
Are you on the Porto's payroll?
All right. Does anyone else have a hey, go fuck yourself?
I do.
Yeah.
This is a more
What if
general
it's
one.
me? That would be really
your name.
intense.
As parents, like we are,
no.
for those of you who are parents,
I'm worried.
you are, you're always subjected to music that you don't want to listen to.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
And I mean, a really like a position that you could take that people would be like, oh, I'm 100% on board with is like, hey, go fuck yourself, Kids Bop, right? Like Kids Bop is terrible, but I would like to extend this beyond that. Like Kids Bop is meant to be hateable.
Yeah.
The band I would like to say, hey, go fuck yourself to is Imagine Dragons.
Oh wow.
Because they make music that kids love more than anything. We have seen this with all of our children. They're like, oh, play Believer for the 900th time. They have a new song called Bones. Play that song. And we have listened to more Imagine Dragons than like almost any other band except for a short period where it was what's the name of them? The
Fresh Beat Band.
No, that was the one Milo loved. He had two songs they loved. No, the Pete Wentz's band,
Fallout Boy.
Fallout Boy. Fallout Boy for a while. That was all we listened to. But Imagine Dragons, I don't know what they do in their songs that reaches into like the minds of like 4-year-old to like 10-year-old children, but it flicks something on in their brains and they're like, please give me more Imagine Dragons.
Is it literally having dragon in the name? Is that what?
I don't know that it could be.
Is Imagine Dragons aware of this power?
I don't know that they
children?
are. I don't know.
They do put them in a lot of children's stuff, though. I mean, a lot of those songs they hear the first time in like a movie. Like I don't know if they're in Big Hero 6. It feels like they are. They're not, maybe, but like it's the themes. Well, Arcane's for older people. They're the theme song for Arcane, but yeah, our kids love Imagine Dragons.
It's so crazy how, I mean, and to see it like go from like Milo at first, who's now 14, like for a while he liked it, and then the other kids like he dropped it and they picked it up independently. It wasn't like, oh, I know that Milo's listening to this. They like picked it up on like, and then it like went, and it's just like it's insane to me. So like I'm taking it out on Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
Jeff's leaving out the fact that I've dated every member of them.
Yeah.
That's his real problem. He's
wondering.
saying it's
I
about
was
the
wondering.
kids, but I dated every member of Imagine
That was all the
Dragons.
big boobies text.
Yeah, that was their entry point.
Oh, well, I mean, that's what you were
When they
putting.
found out about my big boobies.
It was
then
it was like a text chain
Yeah.
with all of them said,
would be
"Hey, Imagine
amazing.
Dragons, imagine big boobies."
Yeah, that's how I got them. I got each and every one of them involved.
Well, no wonder. So it's personal.
It's personal.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
the "Hey, go fuck yourself" is to me. It's just a roundabout.
Right,
He's
right.
saying
so indirect.
about Imagine Dragons.
I'll have to find it. That band though has one of the all-time worst band photos I have ever seen, where it looks like it was hastily done and like, no way is this a band. There's no way this is a band. I have to find it.
Oh my God, please find
It's
it.
insanely terrible.
This is the new Drake feud.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Drake versus Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
it's just Jeff Drake versus
versus all of Imagine Dragons.
Yes.
So I wonder what's going to happen. Maybe they'll write a diss song about Jeff.
I know.
That
Just
would be so
young good.
exciting. Our kids would love it. Our kids would love a diss track about their own father from Imagine Dragons.
So now this is where I find out that Tony is like best friends with like 2 or 3 of the members of the band, and then he's like,
I do know their sound guy.
"Oh,
But
okay. Well, that's different.
Are you in a
That's
feud with him?
And did Wendy date him?
Not yet.
different. Nah,
I can give you his
We'll
number.
see. Thank you.
To text
I have
the-
something to text him.
I know what it is.
Pretty good.
I know what it
I
is.
use emojis too to just kind of paint a picture.
Ooh, which ones?
I know it's usually for butts, but the peach one, but 2 of them. Then it becomes boobs.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So hey, Imagine Dragons.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
All right. Anyone else need to tell anyone off?
I mean, I just want to extend a general go fuck
Yeah.
yourself to like cowards.
Oh,
Like, I feel like right now, like, there's literally like two of the worst. I know we probably don't want to get into a long political rant, but like two of the worst people in the world are in charge of the United States. And one of them's not even the vice president. Like, he's bad,
Right.
but I'm talking about the billionaire and our president. And everyone, like, literally these companies that put out these gobbledygook, press releases, these like garbled whatever, being like, well, we are not discontinuing our DEI, we are now focusing on performance forward, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what are you fucking doing? Like, this guy's not going to be around that long. He's a blip in the time-space continuum, and you are it's like what I think is some people are very excited to capitulate. It almost like
I think
gets
so.
them off, like they're
Yeah.
a submissive but for life.
Well, like
Like,
Costco didn't.
sexually, if you're submissive, all respect.
Right.
But if you are a submissive for life, go fuck yourself. Like, you're so excited to have this big guy who thinks he's the king, like, ram his like dick into
Potato
your
ball.
body.
Well,
like,
I think
stick a
DEI
potato ball up your ass, and it's like, stop obeying and being a fucking mealy mouth coward when literally no one even asked you. It'd be one
Yeah.
thing if he was targeting
Right.
you and coming after you. And then you're like, to keep my family safe, I had to say this thing. It's like, no, you're just some fucking toady deciding to toe the line in advance.
Yes, it's like
Get
that
a
bending
life.
the knee for fascists before.
It's so
Wait,
gross.
so I think though that the problem is that the CEOs of these companies, they all are like him and like this stuff, and they hate DEI because it's been a thorn in their side. They've had to
Yes.
and so they were
way.
excited to
Yeah,
get rid of
they're,
it.
like,
They're not
fully
cowards.
erect
They're
about
on
it.
board.
Yeah.
They're on board. Notable, I think Costco refused. So
Yes.
there's some.
So now I'm only buying things in sets of 24. I don't need it.
I know.
Just
Listen,
when you have
garage
to.
so full.
we have so much Flonase right now. Yeah, I agree with you. I think like the coward thing though, it's like it's beyond the CEOs. It's like
Yeah,
what
it's
about
people,
the
just regular
legislature just
people.
giving up their power?
Yes.
What's going on? I feel like
I
Yeah,
felt
on
that
both
way the
sides of
whole
the aisle.
time.
I
Like, why is
know,
no one
yes.
fighting? Why are they just tweeting about it?
I
Why
think
aren't
it's
they doing
because
anything?
I think it's because like the Democrats that are in office. Someone actually, I forget who, someone elected said this. It's like they were all built for a different type of situation. They're all like
one that's
constructed.
not a constitutional.
Yeah, they're not
crisis?
constructed for this moment, and so that's why they're
No.
failing. It's like you need people in there that are there to fight the battle that's at hand, and they're not. They're there. Like when you hear
Well,
Akeem
who
Jeffries
would that
talk.
be?
Well, I think AOC. There's a few that are coming out that are pretty strong. What's her name?
Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few that are stepping up. Bernie just is doing a barnstorm through the through swing districts where there are Republicans that won Democrat in order to win support or win a resistance against Medicare cuts. I mean, like and selling out rooms to gain that support. So there's a few people, but like Hakeem Jeffries being like, we don't have any.
How do you guys feel about
Leverage.
Bernie? I've got a whatever the opposite of a hard on is. What's the opposite of a hard on? I've got a flaccid wiener for Bernie.
Clenched
A soft
badge. A vagina
Soft
dentata.
Yes,
Um,
that's where the chattering teeth are.
I appreciate that Bernie is saying a lot of things that like would help social program wise. Like I've never been like a hardcore burner, but I do think now I look back and I'm sort of like we should have gone a lot harder left when the Trump was going a lot harder right instead of these more centrist candidates like Hillary, who I respect, but it would have been maybe more helpful to go harder left at that time and offer the same kind of populism, but on the left. But that's also like hindsight being 2020 and all that
No one
stuff.
knew.
So I will say I did get lectured at that time by
Oh, you're saying they were
some
annoying?
men who said like, it would be so literally someone said to my face and kept their face. I didn't remove their face. Said it would be so much easier for Bernie if he was a woman. And I was literally like, what?
Literally,
Like, what are you talking about?
That's insane.
I would say
I
like
think that's why I have my vagina dentata.
I understand.
For Bernie, is because of the Bernie Bros. Probably
Yes,
more
there
than
was a
him.
lot of
So,
explaining.
yes.
I would
to
say,
us
like-
why he was good and we should not have any questions.
So I would say like go ahead and keep your animus towards those people,
Oh,
but
I
just
will keep my animus.
but focus on what Bernie's
Here comes the
message.
moderator.
Bernie's message is the message they need to take, which is like anti-billionaires.
Yeah.
Just focusing on like the needs of working people across
100%.
all.
Well,
that's the
AOC
message.
is doing it now.
Yeah.
And I think AOC is
So-
a viable candidate. She's a young candidate.
Yeah.
And I think she's very, very unafraid. And I identify with that more. I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't know. Shoot me in the street. Whatever. I don't know. Like, what are we going to do? Like, are you really going to just roll over for these
Right.
fuckers?
It seems
Is
they
that
are.
better?
It seems that is what
So
we're doing.
many people are rolling over. It's so
like before
weird.
being asked.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're in
Excitement.
if you're in
Hard on to
Congress,
capitulate.
are you really honestly right now sending me a text about flipping the Senate blue? Like go
Yes.
go do something fucking now. Like
That's
what
a
is-
mega fucking
you think
joke,
there's
yeah.
going to be
Oh.
an election? Like I don't fully believe it.
Oh, I'm
Like-
excited about whoever made the toe sucking video this morning that was at HUD. Did you guys see that yet?
What?
Was that-
No.
that wasn't
Somebody made
real.
it. No, it's a deep fake of Donald Trump licking and sucking Elon Musk's feet, who's in a reclined position, and they somehow hacked the system at HUD headquarters, Housing and Urban Development, and they put it up, and it played on every screen at the HUD headquarters for 5 minutes before anyone figured out how to turn
Oh
it
my
off.
God,
And I'm
that's
like,
fun.
That's actually
The
good.
look
Good.
on-
I know it's pranks, but
Yeah.
good. Like. Donald Trump is essentially a prank that got out of hand. So,
Yes.
like, more of that from us, please.
The
Like,
look on
just more
Trump's
of it.
face when Elon's son told him to shut up was just like, you could tell he just wanted to smack that kid. It was great.
I'm sure.
I
That he did
think
his own kids.
that the message of like anti-corruption, anti-billionaires, like pro social programs,
Yeah.
that's across the board. Like people in red counties agree with that. So we
Yes.
need to that's it. That's
Oh,
the
and
only
they're
thing.
about to yank Medicaid, and then the shit is going to hit the
Yes.
fan. Like everyone has a Medicaid person in their family, someone who needs home care, someone in their family who's diabetic, either type 1 or type 2, and insulin dependent. Like the minute they touch all that, like it all fucking crumbles. But what matters is, do people have the courage to like do something about it instead of just becoming like what the Soviet Union Russia has, which is like, well, nothing works, but we just get by.
So two things, I've been
You
thinking a
know?
lot about that. Two things that we have going for us. One is we've had a functioning democracy for a long time. We all grew up with it, and we
Yes.
have faith in that. We have a memory of it. They didn't.
Right,
Number
that's
two
true.
is when those things happened, and especially people go, oh, this is like 1933 Germany, whatever. Yeah, but we have social media now. And I think that's going to
So
matter.
do they. That's
Well,
it's frightening,
the-
but
What the difference is, like, there was a woman who was hauled out of a council meeting
Yeah.
like this weekend for basically doing nothing by guys who did not have badges, did not say what they were doing. They just took her away.
Brown
they didn't know where.
shirts.
Yeah. But that's all over social media now. We're
Right.
seeing it. And
Yes.
so no one's ready for this fight. But the more of that kind of shit people see, people are going to start to get activated, I think.
I
So
think that's right. And I think
have hope in that.
ultimately saying he was a king and stuff, it's like, good luck with that. Like, do you know what
Americans
happened?
don't like that.
Yeah. I think that the problem is like how long like if this gets more real, how long does it take to fight it off? Is it a actual war
Revolution?
situation, or is it like, oh, this is in 3 months we're looking at something very different? And I think it's just but yes, cowardliness to me is just like ugh.
So
Yeah.
hey, cowards.
Hey, coward.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
All right, let's now do Just Me or Everyone.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
All right. I actually have one. So, and I brought it up a little bit on the Monday show this week with Daniel, wherein I wonder aloud something I never could have said when my mom was alive. Did she really love me or not? I don't know. So I recommend people listen to that if you want to hear something intense, but not, it's not a bummer or anything. It's just like very,
It's joyful.
it's,
Joyful conversation.
I unburdened myself from the love. No, but anyway, in that one, we talked a little bit about how I got brunch with two college friends. Wendy, do you remember Elisa and Jessica? My Jessica. We both have Jessica friends.
Yeah.
So I got brunch with them, and it was so great to see them. But we all were talking about like things that had happened back then and who we were. And we all had this feeling of when I was that age, I wasn't, or like now that time has passed, I see my part more clearly in that. And this almost like, I'm being very inarticulate. Let me rephrase. I have this feeling that the person I was in my 20s, like I shouldn't have been allowed to mix with other people because I was so unformed and unawake and just like immature, and I didn't know how to communicate with people, and I couldn't handle conflict, and I couldn't take criticism, and I was defensive, and I was just
Is this
like
checking out, Wendy?
No.
I was well, I feel that way about myself, but I think the just me or everyone is, do we all feel somewhat of that way about do we all feel sort of like embarrassed and apologetic for who we were in our 20s? Because not to that degree, but Elisa and Jessica also felt sort of like they didn't handle things right at that age either. And I'm like, are we all walking around being like, I can't believe who I was at 20? Just me or everyone.
I feel like I am also to a certain extent. I look at you though and I go like, well, of course you were young. Whereas with ourselves, you experience it internally and you know that you eventually became better at all that stuff.
Yes.
And you are faulting yourself for not knowing how to do it sooner. Like when you're a kid, when you're a true kid, you know you weren't capable of even knowing how to walk before you walked, or talk before you talked, or eat food before you knew how to eat food, or like do math, or like all those things. You like you recognize your child brain as separate from your 40-year-old brain in a way that's like, yes, I can't. But we look at our 20s and we're in this place in between where you feel like you should have
been an adult,
because there are
something.
some people who get those skills earlier, but they may pay for that in a way of like, oh, they lost a parent at 10. So they already knew that life was short. You should appreciate things. You shouldn't screw someone over. You shouldn't do this or that. But when you're in your 20s, your brain is like still forming. So the decisions you're making, you don't know that you're making them because of compulsions you have, or like you're not quite thinking things through. You don't know that yet. So it's really easy to fault yourself. Then you look at someone else who's in their 20s and you go, well, yeah, you're in your 20s. You haven't figured that out yet. Nothing's happened to you yet sometimes. Like
that's
you
how
pay
I
a
was.
cost later, and some really bad things happen to everyone in life, and then you grow this understanding of people, and it keeps happening. I think, right?
I think you're right.
So I think it does, but probably not everybody. I mean, some people may either be very mature, very young, or they're more like sociopathic. So they're just like, whatever. I don't care.
Right. I've been the same
still
always.
Doing weird shit or whatever.
Oh, I think that's true. A lot of people never, sort of gain insight and self-awareness. But I just certainly, I thought I knew everything. I mean, this is so cliche. It's like I thought I knew everything at that age. And I look back and I'm like, I did not even know how to hear. I mean, I talked about this on the show. Like I did something that hurt Jessica's feelings, and she told me, and I, instead of being like, you know what? I'm so sorry. You're right. Because like hurting someone's feelings, that's just being human. Like people bump into each other. But I got like quiet and defensive, and until she finally came up to me and was like, I don't want to be in a fight with you. And I look back on that and I'm like, I handled that like such a weirdo.
But like I think about Elliot and how it feels like suddenly he is really hard on himself.
Yeah.
And he is really worried about messing up, and
it's like he suddenly has gained this social awareness in a way that's like painful to watch, because he's so worried about being embarrassed.
Yeah, and he's doing this theater stuff, and there's like choreography, and he had maybe 3 sessions where they learned. I mean, like not enough to really know it well. And there was like one moment apparently where he was supposed to put his hands down, and he was like late, or vice versa, and he was just so hard on himself about it. And it's like, Elliot, every single fucking kid on that stage is fucking up constantly. No one's expecting you to be like hitting the mark and getting it perfect.
And in the words
but
of the
he's
teacher,
bringing that on himself.
It's alive, it's living, it's theater.
But it came that came from himself. Like and I look back and I go, oh yeah, I was that way though, and yet I can tell him like, chill out, dude, it's fine. But I can't tell that to myself in my own memories. I'm hard on myself, but I can't be kind the way I am to him, to me. It's weird.
I think there's also a part where it's like, there comes a time you get to be a certain age and you look back, you think about like who you were at, like, I remember specifically, like, as I was graduating high school, literally thinking, I've got it figured out.
Yeah.
Like at fucking 18.
Here I am.
At 18 and but then you get like into your 20s or 30s or whatever, and you see a kid who's like 18, and you're like, "Jesus, that's a baby." Like, like did I like that? I had that thought, and I looked like that. You know, knowing it's just so funny. Like you look back and you're like, "Oh, so why?" So in a way, like, why did you why have that expectation of your 20-year-old self? Like, if you looked at 20-year-olds now, you'd be like.
Right.
Look at those fresh-faced children.
Yeah.
Like running around.
And also, it's like the shame is useful. I mean, I know people are like, don't feel shame. I'm like, no, you actually should feel shame towards the people you did shameful things to. So, like, you're feeling shame about hurting Jessica's feelings has stopped you from doing it now.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. I hate when people are like, well, my therapist said I shouldn't feel any shame. It's like, well, no, towards the person that you did this to, you should feel shame. And then you can try to make repairs to get past it. But also, it is there to help you. Those things that shame or guilt, I guess there's a difference between shame and guilt, but your shame or guilt tells you not to go through that door again.
Yeah.
It's useful to you. Saying like, well, I'm just not going to feel it, and then I'm not going to take accountability. It's just like, that's garbage. It's not like you should sit and, you know, gnash your teeth over it forever, but it sounds like you said something to her, and that helps her feel safe going forward, that you wouldn't do that to her again.
Right.
But if you didn't have that or didn't think about it, that'd be worse.
Right.
Probably.
I think you're right.
It's helpful in some ways.
So I guess Wendy's saying I should feel a lot of shame.
No. You know what I'm saying? I feel shame, but there's things I feel shame about that are stupid, like, that I used to wear a banana comb and do self-tanner in Apache Way in middle school. I feel ashamed of that, but that is not anybody.
Something, no.
But hurting someone, I feel like I really hurt a couple people in my life, and that it's not like I don't want to get over it, but I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm supposed to get over it, and they're supposed to carry that burden.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That to me is garbage. Like, it's there to help you not do that again.
I have a related, just mere everyone know that. Does anyone have the experience of having something that they feel ashamed of that was related to something they did with one person, and that person dies, and you're kind of like,
oh my God.
And then you're like, well, at least there's no one who has a memory of that moment anymore.
Did you kill someone, Daniel? Daniel killed somebody. Who did you kill?
I have actually.
It's actually a way out, though. What?
It's a way out.
I have actually experienced that a little bit. Like, it doesn't matter now. But who are you talking about?
Oh, I'll tell you off air.
Oh my!
Bum, bum, bum.
I don't. I mean, because I don't think it's my parents, so I don't know.
No. It's stupid, but I don't want. I just don't want to.
All right. Wow. I'm curious to see where this goes.
It's a great feeling, though.
Jesus Christ! What did you do?
I mean, it's not great that they died, but
is it Ray Liotta?
Is it 100%
Ray Liotta died like
great?
last year. Now I think it's Ray Liotta. Did you do something? What did you do to Ray Liotta?
I can't.
Roberta Flack, she just died. Was it
Roberta Flack?
Maybe.
Was it Jim Henson?
Well, I was still very young.
Yeah, but
Forgive
still.
yourself. Yeah.
No. Okay. It wasn't Jim Henson.
Okay. Well, we've narrowed it down by one.
Yeah.
My understanding is that Tony and Jeff have just mere everyone's.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, okay. Is it just me, or is
I'm filled with dread. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Or is everyone's wife dating Imagine Dragons?
And hate Christmas ornaments.
Do we need self-driving cars?
Oh,
No.
I'm with you. 100%.
Do we need?
I mean, maybe.
No.
Okay, but I think
we
the
do not.
Waymos are cute.
I mean, I took
afraid of
a Waymo.
They're cute.
I guess I feel differently about like a Waymo, which Milo and I took in San Francisco, and it was kind of fun and weird to take. But like, I don't want to like own a car that like now I turn it over to the car and I'm sitting in a car. Like, I have no need for that. I don't feel like a need for it. Also, I don't fully like, a Waymo's got all of these sensors and stuff all over it. Regular cars do not have that. And I spent like, I have it on, it went on so long that I took a video of it back when we had an Alexa, which we don't have anymore, that I was like, Alexa, play Jazz by Queen. It's an album. It has Fat Bottom Girls on it and Bicycle Race on it. Play Jazz by Queen. Now playing a selection of jazz by Queen Latifah. I was like, Alexa, play the album Jazz
Everyone
by
listening
the
at home.
band
Yeah.
Queen.
Everything is going nuts.
And it kept, all it did was feed me back Queen Latifah, like jazz songs sung by Queen Latifah, which fine, that's not what I'm asking for. And I'm like, I did it so many times. I said it so many different ways, and that was the same answer I got. And I'm like, I'm going to trust this to drive me through traffic.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm driving in the car and I get a lane change, like you're trying to change lanes. It's like, no, there's just like grooves on the road. It's like, so what? I'm just going to be trusting my car to drive me, and then there's going to be grooves that like go off to the side, and my car's just going to like drive me. Of course, it's going to drive me into the side.
Yeah.
Do not trust it. But also, I'm like, who gives a shit? I don't need a car to fucking drive me around.
I mean,
I don't need it.
I like the idea of being chauffeured. I just don't
Yeah.
trust the self-driving car.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. 'Cause
I don't trust people. Go
I
ahead.
know.
Tom,
No,
I'm sorry.
Don't
It
be sorry,
burst
because
out of
that's I kind of feel the same way, because everybody fucking drives me crazy the way everybody drives.
If,
And-
Yeah.
if all
Yeah.
the cars on the road were networked and they were all self-driving, then that, under those circumstances, it would be a benefit, because then everyone would get to work faster.
Yes.
Like everything
I
would be
It's called a
super
train.
efficient.
A bunch
It's
of
called a
Exactly.
train.
A bunch of little pods like bumping along the highway, all at a constant speed of like 45
Right.
miles
And
an hour,
merging exactly
would probably
right and
actually
everything.
get everyone there faster.
It would. It actually would.
Than
But
all these fucking maniacs going 85 in the fast lane.
But that's
like, and
never
then
going to
killing
fucking happen,
someone
because
and whatever.
too many people like to actually drive, and so
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. So shy of that, it's just a nuisance, because now you have these self-driving cars with non-self-driving cars, and I don't know.
Does it matter that Waymos give me a giggle when I see them? Is that a convincing argument? Whenever I see one, I get a little giggle. I don't know why.
Does it talk to you, Jeff? Does it say like, now we are doing this, or anything?
A little bit, but then it just kind of leaves you to yourself, and so then it's kind of it's a very surreal experience of sitting in the back of a car, because it has a steering wheel that turns and everything, and so it's like Ghost Driver.
I wish they would
Is
do
a
like the
human- is a
airplane
human driving
movie,
it
like
somewhere?
inflatable driver thing.
Right, Otto, the autopilot. Yeah,
Is it being piloted by a human somewhere?
No.
It's just completely computers. That's
it's
so
completely
weird.
yeah. But I mean, it has like
Yeah,
it
I've
has a
seen it. They
ton
are
of
cute.
sensors on it.
Looks like Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Yeah, but I mean, like having been hit by a drunk driver,
reference.
and then we were in a taxi in New York that basically it seemed like he was trying to off himself and got us in an accident. There's a part of me that's like, maybe I trust a Waymo more, to be honest with you, than those people that were driving those cars for sure. And so I don't know. I would take a Waymo locally. I don't want to go on the freeway in a
Yeah.
Waymo. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think I would start to feel like, hold on, I've been kidnapped and I'm being driven at 75 miles per hour by a machine. That seems bad.
When were you hit by a drunk driver?
Right after I graduated college, the year after, me and my friend Gigi were on the Bay Bridge and a car hit us on the side.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we were on the top of the Bay Bridge.
Oh my God.
A guy hit us on the side. And so I had never been in a real car accident before. I didn't know what the sound was. And then I looked over and it was clear that he had hit us. But as we looked over, we could see he was spinning out.
Oh my God.
And then he came right in front of us. And I was braking, luckily, so we hit him at a low speed. But then we T-boned him because he was driving the wrong way across, like perpendicular to the cars.
Jeez.
And we hit him. He hit two more cars. Everybody pulled over. And he was so drunk that he acknowledged the other cars. And then he looked at my car, which was dented on the. It wound up being totaled. It was the full side was crunched. The front was crunched. And he goes, "What's this car doing here?" And I'm like, "You just hit me twice." So, I mean, I hit him
Right.
the second time, but
Collided
he was
twice, yeah.
driving the wrong way across traffic at that point. So it was really like, I mean, he was really drunk. So yeah, that was an interesting. So now I'm like, yeah, like if
Did you
people
get
out,
hurt
are
at
out
all?
here, no, we were fine. In the taxi accident, I got more hurt because I had a seatbelt on and we were going really fast, and then so I just got like bruised all across. Yeah, but
Gnarly.
yeah, after seeing those drivers, I'm kind of like, I could do worse. I'll go in a Waymo.
Yeah.
It's fine. If I need someone to drive me, I also think I'm very paranoid and like to drive myself or Jeff drive me. I don't like being a passenger in a car with another human driver. It sucks, but it's true. Like,
Yeah.
I should get over those things, but I still
I
think about
love
them.
people like you because I love to be a passenger.
Oh, great. I will drive you anywhere. If you want to go
Fabulous.
anywhere, I'll drive you.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, I hate being a passenger because I know it's a control issue where I'm like, is something wrong with this person who's driving the car?
Right.
Or are they just going to make a mistake? And so I get really paranoid.
Yeah.
Do you carry
I'm
around?
fucking crazy though.
Do you carry around a little chauffeur hat for people to drive you around?
Yes,
the
I do.
I have a little hat.
I have a hat for you. I'll measure your head.
Portos.
Whoa, perfect.
It's funny.
Just to make Daniel
Exactly.
mad.
I
I'm
feel-
going to get you one of those.
I
cakes.
already
thank
know
you.
what
I
Daniel's
appreciate
going to say. What?
It's funny that you like to be a passenger because you like to drive from the passenger
I
seat.
knew he was going to.
Oh,
I saw this coming.
Zing.
It telegraphed. I saw that he was
Yeah.
about to say this.
Ugh, my wife.
I don't even like the driving as much, though. I will say I would have a hard time giving up driving only because that's my alone time. Like tomorrow, I have to go to Santa Monica and back, and I'm like,
I'm excited about that.
Oh yeah, I'm going to take the surface streets. I'm going to listen to an audiobook, and it's just so pleasant. The wind in your hair, it's so pleasant.
I don't feel that way about any driving.
Really, you get to be alone. Nobody can ask you for anything. It's great. I love it.
I
to
can
be
get
alone.
I can get to a place where I can accept it. Like, oh, it'll be okay. I'll listen to XYZ and da 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 da. But like, really, I'm always happy to not be in that situation.
Ugh, so
I
spotty.
think, Tony,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna save your Just Mirror, everyone.
That's fine. I see how it is.
Yeah. I cannot thank everyone enough for doing this show. This was delightful. I'd like to remind everyone, Patreon, and Substack, and merch, and all that. Follow me everywhere. Wendy, where might we find you?
Well, I'm on Blue Sky at Wendy Molyneux, which is very easy to find. And let's see. Oh, and I have a public Instagram that's at The Great North Wendy. I write for 2 television shows. The Great North is back every Sunday night on Fox, and that means it's Monday mornings on Hulu, or I guess at midnight, Sunday night on Hulu. You can stay up and watch it the first moment it's available. And then Bob's Burgers, which will be back in May and then back in the fall. So please watch those shows. Please especially watch Great North. We're newer. We need viewers. Watch us on Hulu. Turn it on and leave the house. I don't give a shit. Just play it.
Just leave it
yeah.
on, yeah.
Leave it on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jeff.
I am also on Blue Sky as Hate the Drake. That's me on Blue Sky. I'm on Instagram, but that's not the famous Drake. And I have a podcast called 9 Chickweed Rage, which I do with my friend Brooke Dillman. We just dropped a new episode recently. It's about the comic strip Chickweed 9 Chickweed Lane, and
your hatred for it.
and our hatred for it, because it is absolutely the worst in every possible way. And this time especially, we covered, I think it was 18. It was a run of 18 that was a lead up to the wedding of 2 of the main characters, and it's horrific. It's just horrific. So please go. That's it's called 9 Chickweed Rage, and you can find that's also on Blue Sky.
Do you think the creator has an awareness of your podcast?
God, I hope so. We'd like beg him to sue us virtually every time we do our podcast. So
Wonderful. Daniel.
At Daniel Quantz at Blue Sky mostly. I'm pretty much only doing anything there.
And Tony.
I'm starting to try to use Blue Sky at Tony Thaxton, same as my Instagram. I'm on Never Not Funny this week also,
Ooh.
but it's the paid. You have to be a paid subscriber, so it's one of those. And then I'll be in Australia with Motion City Soundtrack in April.
Wonderful. Yeah, a listener told me that Jimmy said, "Oh, Allison hasn't been on in a while."
He did
Gotta
mention that.
Yeah, so I will return. Everyone, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show?